This is a powerful, foldable, fun-to-ride electric scooter with dual suspension from the Xiaomi ecosystem, having all the right ingredients to be among the best ones. But is it? Let's inspect! Yeah, some bumps, but it shouldn't be a problem because we have front and rear suspension, and apparently this scooter is quite an exciting mixture because you can go off-road like what I'm doing at the moment, but also it's suitable for bike lanes in most countries because the top speed for Europe is 25 km per hour, around 20 miles per hour for the States, and this makes it compliant with most countries' regulations. By the way, nice to meet you here. My name is Michael, the Tech Mishka, as usual inspecting some fresh and interesting tech, and this episode is all about discovering the strong and weak sides of the Navee S65C. The price is in fact good, because for less than $900 it delivers some features and components typical for much more expensive models, plus it matches the compliance standards for bike lanes in many countries, which, especially in Europe, is kind of a tricky thing. In many ways, this is a slightly more affordable version of Xiaomi 4 Ultra, but I will build on top of this theory a little later. Unboxing the unit was surprisingly easy. Well, the pack is certainly heavy, being around 30 kilograms, so you better have somebody else to help you or be prepared for some fitness exercises. You may want to cut the box loose from the bottom and pull the cardboard up. It's the easier option, but lifting the scooter itself is also possible, just the heavier option. Get rid of the protective layers of foam and nylon, tighten the 4 screws to secure the handlebar, and you're pretty much done. Yeah, at a first sight, it looks like the Mi Scooter, which got steroids treatment. Everything about it got bigger. The tires, the deck, the handlebars, the battery. It also got dual suspension, but undeniably there are similarities to the Mi Scooter line. Even if we look at the specs, there are a bunch of common parts. The motor is not among them though. 450 watts rated power and twice more in terms of peak power, up to 20 miles per hour top speed, capacity to handle 22% inclines, a 15 ampere-hour battery, dual braking system, 10-inch self-sealing tires. The weight of the scooter is 27 kilograms and it can even interact with your smartphone via an app. So definitely good specs. They're not too wow, but definitely solid for a price point of less than $1,000. Well, hello to you, buddy. So the most disturbing part is, in my opinion, the weight, 27 kilograms, which means that you can't simply take the scooter and carry it anywhere you want, because you have to be careful with it. Most of the weight is on the rear end, where we can find the 450 watt motor. And I think the heaviest part inside is without any doubt the pretty huge 15 ampere-hour battery, delivering fairly good range, which is in my opinion even better than what Xiaomi 4 Ultra is going to provide to you. As for the motor, at 900 watts peak power, acceleration is good, and I'm gonna make more testing about it so that you see how it actually feels in real life environments. But we can for sure expect pretty dynamic drive. Unfortunately, we don't know the exact Newton meters, which in my opinion are the most important component over here. Very nice to see better suspension, front and rear, and unlike the first generation of N65, over here we finally have a dual braking system, which is a lot more reliable because on the rear we have electronic brake and the front one is drum, and braking experience is fantastic. Now, there are some more unanswered questions, and I think I can give you these answers through some more testing. Let's hop on. If you wonder about the motor performance and the acceleration, here are the answers. Very good acceleration, and the modest number of 900 watts peak power is actually a pretty balanced solution. Going uphill is possible, it can handle inclines up to 22%, a good mark. But off-road mountain areas are rather a no-go. I've of course performed acceleration tests up to 25 km per hour, which is the maximum speed in my region. Apparently I couldn't trick it in order to unlock the 20 miles per hour, but even like that, it is quite fun to ride. Plus, lower top speed converts into greater range per battery charge. Speaking of which, with the worst possible style in sports mode, with total total lack of care about the battery life and mostly urban environment with hilly areas, you can count on at least 30 kilometers, easily. As soon as you start to behave, just switch to dynamic mode and then you can double this achievement. So range is very good. Plus, the battery seems to be excellent, and as usual, Navee have special focus on the BMS, especially about the safety precautions implemented. The suspension works quite well, everything about it is very quiet, something that in my opinion helps to distinguish a well-engineered electric scooter from such one that is made from simply available and affordable parts without much of testing or attention to the details. But it is fairly easy to max the suspension out. Since it has no adjustment options, it seems to be tuned towards riders with weight between 60 and 70 kilograms, and I felt like I can easily hit the limits with my close to 90. The tires are 10 inches of size, rather wide, good grip, they're tubeless with sealant, therefore Navee present them as self-sealing. The good news is that with tubeless tires, there is less maintenance required from your side. The folding mechanism is also fine, looks good to me, but we know how it is with scooters. It may feel perfect at the start and then over time, certain areas loosen. Well, we have the ability to adjust if something gets loose, so I have high expectations in terms of reliability. There are positive changes on the design as well. Larger and wider deck, wider handlebar, a little taller, size is perfect for my height as well. One tiny change at the first sight, but having a huge impact while you're riding, is the placement of the control button. It is now part of the acceleration lever, and it made me figure out how risky it is to have it in the middle. Because now, switching between modes doesn't really involve taking any risks or losing controls with any of your hands. The single brake lever here controls both the front and the rear ones. Likely, for some regions, Navee may have to mount a second lever where required by the law. And on top of all these positives, there's yet another one. We have Bluetooth support, therefore a smartphone app. I did mention that the scooter feels like a slightly cheaper Mi Scooter 4 Ultra, and the next thing they have in common is the Mi Home app, because it also happens to control the N65C. You gotta activate the scooter prior to riding for the first time. Boring! Mostly because you have to watch the whole safety tutorial and there is no way to skip it, and if you try to cheat, it makes you watch from the beginning. A few configuration options are present, but not too much. You can make the tail light always on, get to learn about battery status and the range estimations and the results. So up until now, it kind of feels that it's an ad rather than a review, but we're also here to point to the drawbacks. Was there anything at all that I didn't like about this scooter? Well, it's me, and I'm sometimes a magnet to tech glitches. My unit had a misaligned handlebar, which required me to fine-tune it. I really hoped to see a bit more advanced suspension, which can be adjusted according to the rider's weight, and I do miss the iconic foldable handlebar that the first Navee scooter used to have. Well, in the end, based on everything positive I've experienced with N65C, I can only wish NaveeTech to work on N75 with probably maximum speed of close to 50 km per hour in keeping the same structure, maybe a dual motor implementation, because this electric scooter is excellent. You know, very few things that we can criticize in the overall performance make me think that this would be money very well spent. So yes, I can certainly recommend it, but I'm also curious to hear about your opinion, which we can share in the comment section below the video. And thank you very much for watching this episode. As usual, it's been very fun to prepare it, but also took me a lot of time, so would be greatly appreciated if you can give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we're gonna see each other in a few days' time. Have a great one, see you around.